It's a little bit hard to do without a sun or a moon in the sky, but I'm going to show you how to track real time and track the sun and the moon so that you can't be lied to by the people that lie all the time. Okay, the first thing you want to do is find north. You can do it with a compass. Well, if you're like me, you want it to be as accurate as possible, and for that, you need to use the stars. So you need to find where the North Star is. The easiest way to find the North Star is go to the Big Dipper, line these two up, they kind of point at it, find out where it's at, then you can go from there. If you can't see the North Star from your location, then this really won't apply to you, but there are ways you can do it from wherever you are. If you just eyeball the North Star, that'll get you close, or close enough anyway. But if you really understand what the North Star does, how it travels, it actually goes around the actual north. And depending on what time of the night or what time of the year you're looking at it, you can have it about a degree off either way you go, depending on where it's at. As you can see in my cheesy little diagram here. You just have to do the numbers, do the math, but you can find out a real close north by doing that. This is what I use. It's concreted in. I set it to north, leveled it up. Now what you do is you watch the shadow, and whenever noon rolls around, you have it lined up to where you can measure the time with it, and then take a watch, and whenever the shadow's at noon, set your clock to noon, and you'll have real time. Okay, don't forget that if you do set your clock to real noon, to calibrate it from time to time, because it does change. 24 hours is not, or at least what your clock does 24 hours is not in sync with the sun, so you have to calibrate it from time to time. This device and many others like it are no good for keeping time because they're automatically updated according to the system. You need a wind-up watch or a clock that is not updatable by the system. I guess an electronic clock would work, just as long as it's not like this. Okay, you got north, you got your clock set, now you can tell real time. The little dots, your location, let's just say, and then what you're going to be reading is where the sun is overhead. Noon is always going to be noon, no matter what. And then it's just a matter of knowing what your clock says. 1 hour is about 15 degrees overhead travel. So by 3 p.m. you can clock the sun at 45 degrees west of your noon. And so on. 6 p.m. 90 degrees. And this is very useful if you hunt, anybody that uses the sun for anything, it's very useful. A lot of people don't, but I do. And now that you have this information, we can go on to a little more deeper information using the same basic principles. Combine all that information I just gave you, plus make a little simple device like this, and you can tell what day it really is. The calendar right now says it's December 15th. This will tell you what month it is, and you can get pretty close to what day it is because it'll tell you what day the seasons change if you know what you're doing. It's a lot of in-depth stuff. This is one of the reasons why I think they try to keep the sun away from us so that we can't tell what time it really is and what's really going on in the sky. The correct angle to the North Star from your location, put this on a pivot, if I can keep it on there. That way anytime during the day, wherever the sun's at, or the moon, you can use this for the moon too, you will know where the sun is overhead in connection to its time of the year. You just line the shadows up, which this is not. Both of my hands are full. Then you line up the other one. Then you take this, if you got one, get your angle, which right now, I already checked it, it was at 31.10 degrees. And it's almost the winter solstice, so it gets real picky when it gets down to the solstice times because you can barely read the changes in the angle. Okay, now that you have some of that information down, you can figure out what's going on in the sky. So your clock's all set, and it's 6 p.m., and the moon is in first quarter, and it's at noon position. That's how you know. I mean, you look at the phase, know its position, know where the sun is, using simply your watch. Apply that in so many ways. Now, when the moon is with the sun, they call this a new moon. They call it on your calendar a new moon, and Jewish people been brainwashed into calling it a new moon too, so it's carried over throughout the whole world. This is not a new moon. It's not observable for you unless it's an eclipse, solar eclipse. It's the only time it's of use. So, scratch this out of your knowing. This is a new moon. When the moon's full, that's a new moon. And it's easy to tell for sure when it's the full moon, whenever the sun goes over the horizon, and then the moon comes up shortly after. And then when the sun comes up in the morning, the moon is about to set. The moon's full all night. It can be kind of hard to tell for sure exactly when it's a full moon, because even before it goes into a perfect full moon, it looks like it's full. So just knowing the little differences is what can tell you real time and what's really going on. Alright, this is the crap they tell you. And this is why this is important. Because they can always fluff it off a couple of days and lie to you like they always have. But this is not true. Winter does not begin when they say. This will be the first day of winter. This is the last day of fall. And why do they do this? Because they don't want you to know crap. They know you ain't looking. They know you ain't looking close enough to see that this is bull crap. That's one thing. So then, the rest of the fake year carries out, and then you got New Year, right in the middle of nothing. That's a bull crap New Year day. And I didn't need these douchebags to get all this information. Here's the mathematical equation. Any questions? This is correct. Well, I hope some of this information was useful. I know I'm not a great teacher at these things. If you can take anything from it, then they can no longer have the power to lie to you about these things. I mean, they have the power to cover it up. You will have days where you can put it to use. But if you like to be lied to, then you'll continue to just follow whatever they say. Anyway, enjoy it while you can. Good day.